everybody, and welcome back to the Summer Championship. We're live from the Blizzard Arena, where a pretty cool crowd is playing some Hearthstone, jamming some games. Those are some Hearthstone players, some pro Hearthstone players, actually.
There's a future pro Hearthstone player.
Future world champion of Hearthstone right there.
You're the dog? Oh, you're the dog now, man. Wow. I can't believe I never even thought of that. That guy's a genius.
Someone high-five that guy.
Whoever that is smart. I saw someone high-five themselves, too. They're smart as well.
Yeah. But it's time for us to get into the match. We're not going to waste any time. It's time for the decider matches. So without further ado, let's introduce our first player. Hailing from Japan, it's Tansoku.
Tansoku had said in his interview he thinks he's the 16th most skilled player, but honestly, I thought he's played pretty darn well.
And his opponent, it's Viper.
Top 8 in Tourstop Oslo, top 32 in Germany. Looking for better here.
Some people just go by, okay, it's a mathematical problem. There's always one answer that's the right answer, the right call, the right decks. But figuring it out is not easy. And I'm probably one of the guys that wants to do something different, not just go with everyone expects, try to counter, try to beat what people bring.
Viper takes it 3-2.
A lot of people made like those statistics about who's gonna make it out of groups, who's gonna win and so on. And they just took HSV play, stats and decks and whatsoever, but playing control decks like Mage, Shadowbox Shaman and so on, if you play them well and you face the matchups you want to face, they are like way better compared to the statistics you're just gonna get by looking at ladder. I cannot bring the same stuff as everyone else and then expect to win. I have to do something different to overcome them.
And it's Hearthstone time.
It's been Hearthstone time.
It's just my favorite line.
Ever.
It is. Because any time is Hearthstone time. But this is really Hearthstone time.
Take a look at the bans here. Not too surprised to see Miracle Rogue banned out on both sides. You can see from the rest of their lineups that they are quite vulnerable to a deck that can deliver a tempo punch and then also have something on board. And that is pretty much the deck in the lineups that do that.
Yeah, both these players had similar game plans coming into the Summer Championship, but much different paths to get there.
Yeah.
As Admiral always says, there's a bunch of paths to El Paso.
No. I mean, sure. Begin. You know, Dorado.
But the best one is paved in gold.
Oh, gosh. Yep, that's exactly what I usually say. You got me. But I'll say is the way the panouts come out here, you know, Conquest is a tricky beast. You can't really, you don't have much control over how those first couple matches go on. No. Not really much you can do about it. But in this one, Viper definitely gets the better end of the deal. It's the big Spell Mage versus Tansoku's Taunt Druid. And one of the big problems that Tansoku runs into here is that it's very difficult for him to actually utilize his combo the way that he intends to do it. Both not only because Viper's got so much removal packed into this deck, but because of Polymorph transforming something into a beast. It means that Witching Hour is a little bit more risky, I would say.
A lot more risky. Putting that beast in the pool is fantastic. It's not quite as big of a deal as, say, Hex, because Hex also puts a taunt in the pool as well. But it is just a very big deal. So we're going to start things off. And Tansoku not hitting ramp. He has to master O-Card, but that's a long ways away unless he hits Wild Growth or the Nourish.
Yep. Meteor is a really cool card in this matchup, too, because Dragon Hatcher is such a powerful card, just in general, you know, summoning 4/8 taunts and 4/12 taunts. But Viper's big Spell Mage deck, so many times Dragon Hatcher gets played, and Meteor is just such a super clean answer to that card. Like, if you have Jaina out and your opponent plays Dragon Hatcher, a lot of times I feel like it's a liability to have played Dragon Hatcher in that spot.
Yeah, you're really only doing it to put a taunt in the pool, right?
Yeah.
but you're giving your opponent a water elemental. And that's also, thanks so much, Admirable, for giving me that perfect segue. One of the key cards for Control Mage, Frostlich Jaina.
Nice.
No, yes.
That was a solid connection you just made.
Nailed it.
Honestly, it's probably one of the most important cards that's in the deck in general, kind of regardless of what matchup you're talking about.
Yeah,
you know?
it just makes the deck function, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's a giant power spike. You know, matchups that are aggressive, like Odd Paladin or you know, Odd Rogue or whatever, Jaina definitely is impactful, but not necessarily the way you win the game. The way you win the game is by, you know, squelching their assault. Against Tansoku, though, it's pretty much the way you kill him afterwards. And so what that means is Viper's got a lot of time to find that card, and in the meantime, it's just making sure that Tansoku doesn't go nuts, putting together a big combo turn, you know, like the naturalized Hadronox with a bunch of taunts in the pool.
And
Big deal to draw Skulking Geist, I'd say, early on more than it is to draw Jaina.
Both these players are just hero powering each other back and forth, and Viper's the one that's very happy to see this. Because one of the weak points, Mage just turns 1 through 5. They do nothing. Yeah, effectively.
It's pretty close to nothing.
Yeah, maybe they can jam an Arcane Keysmith and get up a secret. That's about it. But other than that, Viper's happy to just take this game long, bide his time. He doesn't see Wild Growth, he doesn't see Nourish. He's a happy camper.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, I will say, even if Tansoku had Nourish on the previous turn, he should be playing the Iron Golem instead. A lot of times I see players coin Nourish with this deck, and what you really want to be doing is nourishing into 7, and then when you go into your 8-mana turn, you coin out the Master O card.
There's one thing that can maybe change that plan that we've seen a few times, and that's if you have Master O card and Lich King.
Yeah, or like the Nourish plus a Wild Growth.
Exactly.
On that same turn.
Yeah, because then you're just rolling right in.
Yeah.
You Lich King and then you Master O card. But with the way that Tansoku's hand is playing out, he wants Master O card ASAP. Viper, of course, has the same 120 for 120 card lineup as Bunny Hopper, who won out of his group.
That's right.
He's currently sitting in the quarterfinals.
Went 2-0 in the group.
Yeah, so that bodes well for Viper, but things change. You know, Viper has a completely different group with a completely different set of lineups. Bunny Hopper was in kind of the group of death with a little bit more aggressive lineups, and he even thought he was unfavored in the group. A lot of players thought he was unfavored in the group, and he made it out. So Viper may have a little bit of that friend pressure on him, you know?
Like Bunny Hopper did well, I have to do the same.
Exactly.
I can see it. It's like when I'm casting with you and you just do such a damn good job. I'm like, man, I gotta pick this up. I got that friend pressure.
Let me know when that happens.
Viper, of course, practiced alongside Bunny Hopper. He also practiced alongside Casey and Kolmari in preparation for this. He's talking about how typically when he's playing Hearthstone, he'll play, you know, a good 3 to 5 hours a day. But in preparation for this, it was many more hours per day to make sure that the lineup was as best as they possibly could craft it.
Yeah, there are also some teammates on the German Hearthstone Global Games team. So they'll be practicing together a lot more as we move forward into that, which just starts in a few weeks now, actually.
He was the anchor of the 2017 Hearthstone Global Games team for Germany.
Also, even going back all the way to 2016, made an appearance at a championship.
Whoa!
He's got the second meteor. Calm down.
That is a very aggressive. Do you think he's counting for naturalize when he makes a meteor play like that? Like as weird as it sounds, like maybe Tansoku naturalizes his own minion.
I don't know about that.
I feel like, why would you meteor that? It couldn't even attack.
I think it's just to empty up hand size. I'm not sure, but
He's got 8.
Meteor is a very valuable card.
Exactly.
Sleepy Dragon exists.
That is a wacky use of meteor, TJ. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's wacky.
Trying to clean up the board space, but the Armor Golem couldn't even attack.
That's what I mean. I feel like he's got to be accounting for hand space when he makes a play like that.
Interesting.
You can see him kind of like in thought too, just trying to figure out how the rest of these turns look. Trying to visualize, you know, way down the road, where does this game end up? You know, if I don't draw Jaina in the next few turns.
Nailed it.
Yeah, Doomsayer here is basically the same thing too. Just you're trying to prevent that Master Oakheart turn from happening
For as long as possible.
Yeah.
Maybe give him one extra turn to draw one of the pieces that Master of Cards going to pull from the deck. Tansoku has the lean control killer version of the Taunt Druid. Only a single copy of Wrath, no Ferocious Howl, double Dragon Hatcher, double Sleepy Dragon in the top end. So even with one Dragon Hatcher drawn, Tansoku will still pull a Dragon Hatcher with the Master O card.
It's not only that, but this also gives Viper time to get Syndragosa down. You just have a big minion in play for when they play Master O card. So much easier to chew through the board after that.
Yeah, lines up quite nicely. At that top end, Viper also has the Lich King.
Yep. 2 Primordial Drakes as well that the Dragon Hatchers could pull. I think this is a great turn for Viper.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times when you're playing as Druid here, like in Tansoku's position, you see a Doomsayer and it's a perfect turn to Nourish, but he's just got too many cards to do that right now. And he's just going to draw anyway. And this Nourish is probably going to be for hand size. Never mind, he's just going to draw and burn coin or Jasper Spellstones or something.
All right.
You know, looking for Naturalize, of course. Looking for, you know, Witching Hours and stuff. You want to get your Hadronox active.
It could be a liability, though, because what if he draws the second Dragon Hatcher there?
Well, he
or
also
some
could,
of his dragons from his
he could be looking to draw Hadronox as well. I mean, that's a possibility. A lot of times you don't want to just O-card with Hadronox in the deck.
True, you
get
want to have that
polymorph.
agency.
Exactly. You want to be able to play Hadronox and Naturalize at the same turn. So the aggressive draw does make a lot of sense here as well.
Yeah, sometimes there's like that window with Master O-card where you keep it because if you hit the ramp, it's the nuts.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you can always, you know, just fall back on a more calculated game plan where you're playing your threats in a metered fashion to get the most value instead of just throwing it all out there and letting Viper have his way with it.
It's a big threat, though. Oh, you know what? Swipe here actually could overdraw Viper by card. Oh, wait. Yeah, it'd overdraw by 1 card.
It would, yeah. He put 2 legendaries in his hand.
For whatever reason in my head, I was thinking like Naturalize was like a card he had in his hand.
Nope. Also, Master O-card, maybe Tansoku, you keep it because you hope that it pulls Iron Golem. But since he's played one already, has the second one in his hand, all of a sudden it becomes less valuable as well. Now that Viper's drawn enough cards, it's almost guaranteed to have that polymorph.
Snuggle, fetch.
That's Primordial. Viper feels like he is in full control of this game right now.
Meteor plus ping is the cleanest way to deal with it. But Viper's, he's a creative guy. He always tries to solve the puzzle in a different way than others. But clearing the board, gaining 6 armor, and hitting your opponent for 8, also pretty appealing.
Yeah, I mean, something that I'm really looking at in this matchup is, you know, when is he never going to have another opportunity to use Meteor again? It would be another Dragon Hatcher. And so, you know, that situation can occur, but I feel like it's quite rare. Like, I want to save my Blizzards and my Flame Strikes in case he gets his Hadronox wave going.
Yeah. I was thinking he could also force Tansoku to pull another dragon out of his deck.
Yeah, that's a reasonable
value out of his removal.
Yep.
But then you're putting more taunts in the pool. You're giving Tansoku those taunts for free.
Connecting for 8.
Whew. Yeah, connecting for 8 I think is the big one.
It's a lot of damage.
This deck's not going to aggro you down. Let's be real.
It's not, but that damage does matter. You know,
Yeah.
that added pressure is one of the ways that I think Viper can force Tansoku into making some uncomfortable turns. You know, typically I don't think he has that liberty. It's really tough for him to put together an annoying turn for Tansoku.
Yeah.
Unless he's dealing a damage with an 8/8. That's about the only way it does it.
Yeah, now outside of Naturalize, Viper, by expending 2 cards, opens up his hand size for these 2 legendary minions to be able to come into his hand and still be able to get the draw off the top.
Yep.
Which could be key because he's yet to draw that Frosted Chain.
Tansoku, he starts feeling the pressure there. He just goes for clearing this off. I think this is really good news for Viper.
He draws from the Syndragosa, Ixlid and Bloodmage Thalnos.
Yeah, Ixlid's pretty darn bad.
If you could stick Ixlid on the board though and play a Lich King,
It's True story. It is a scary. It is one of those minions that you feel like you need to kill.
Maybe
Pretty
not
much.
so much against Control Mage, but
Even still, though, I mean,
if you put it on the board and you haven't played your other legendary minion yet, then Tansoku is going to be probably feeling some pressure.
that's part of what I mean too. Like if Viper goes with Ixlid and Arcane Artificer here, Tansoku looks at Ixlid. He goes, "Well, he's got another random legendary minion. Plus, he still has Lich King in the deck. So maybe I do need to get rid of this."
Blood Mage Soundnose also is a pretty good draw because multiple uses. Of course, it makes your spells deal more damage because of the spell damage. But also, it could be used to summon a water elemental later on with Frost's Jaina and draw a card.
That's definitely the biggest application.
Yeah.
I mean, Viper's even included a copy of Novice Engineer in the deck for some of that Liberty later on.
It's basically the same case, right? You draw a card and you can immediately ping it off. But in this matchup, I don't know how willing he is to draw cards because with naturalizes in the deck, sometimes it can be a liability because fatigue, especially with you polymorph and all this stuff.
You gotta draw 2 cards? He's just making stuff. I feel like Viper's really trying to get the second swipe out if it's there. Because not only would swipe be a good thing for him to see, it means Tansoku's not playing a Lich King or a Sleepy Dragon or what have you. It's also just like, this is a fairly threatening position to be in. It's like we just talked about. You still got legendaries in the deck. I mean, Lich King is still a card that you have to worry about. I think that Ixlid's dying this turn.
And if he swipes and one of his next 3 draws picks up Lich King, he's slamming that bad boy.
Or Jaina.
Or Jaina, slamming that bad girl. And saying go.
I think even if you drew Dragon Color or Lana at this point, it would be a slam. I mean, there's 2 big spells in the pool, but 13 attack and health is a pretty darn good minion when your opponent's got a relatively empty board.
Yeah.
Tansoku, he looks like he's just going to risk it. He's like, yeah, if I swipe, this turn sucks.
Time waits for no one.
Second guessing, though. Yeah, I do kind of like the Lich King, but if I'm in Tansoku's seat, I am terrified of this Ixlid.
But he also, I think, maybe realizes that Viper's now in the same spot. Because if he draws Lich King and plays it and gets 2 of them, then all of a sudden he doesn't kill Tansoku's Lich King.
Yeah, it's a true story.
So it sort of just puts him in the same exact spot that
It's
he's
that
in.
board tension thing. You're like, well, he's going to do something powerful. I'm going to do something even more powerful and see if they're willing to do their powerful thing.
I've been waiting all week for you to hit me with the board tension.
It just doesn't really exist in this metagame. It's very rare. It's usually just a bunch of taunts.
I love nothing more in the world than some good old-fashioned board tension. Hearthstone's all about board tension, hand texture, and huge draws.
Now you're just making fun of me to my face.
What about 2 Baron?
Well, I will say that Polymorph on Lich King, I think, is one of the better options for Viper.
Now, the bad thing about Baron Geddons is they will eventually kill each other.
It's just a lot of damage that he's threatening. And so Viper, I think, gets a little bit unlucky here. Tansoku, the Death Knight card he drew was Death and Decay.
Perfect answer for 2 Baron Geddons.
Yeah, he was representing, honestly, like quite lethal damage here. I think this is the reason he didn't polymorph is because he's like, Tansoku's got very limited removal left.
Yeah.
And so in this situation, he can polymorph a big taunt out of the way and just connect with both Baron Geddons and win the game. So Viper's taking like a very alternative line to what his normal game plan is and just gets really punished by this Lich King card. You see the grimace on his face when it happens.
I mean, if those Baron Geddons don't get answered, I find it hard for Tansoku to win. But Frosted Jaina on a completely empty board.
That is as good as it's going to get.
But again, Viper. Gonna go into the tank. Arcane Keysmith can interrupt Tansoku's game plan.
That is a real possibility too. I mean, he could be thinking about, if I get Hadronox naturalized, do I have a better setup against it?
Yeah. So if he plays Arcane Keysmith, no matter what the secret is, Tansoku probably has to respect the counterspell.
Now, in my opinion, No, he cannot set up better against Hadronox than this play right here.
Do not fear power.
You start getting those wellies cranking, it's going to be tough for Tansoku to win.
Yeah. But I feel like Tansoku's pool is just good enough so we're now you can play Master Okar, guaranteed Hadronox. It's time to rumble.
Yep, Lich King's in there, and honestly, that's the big one.
Yeah. And I think this, from Viper's standpoint, this almost has to be like Polymorph Blizzard.
That's looking strong to me still. Polymorph Blizzard.
Now, Viper has shown that he loves to be very patient with his polymorphs. Because you can polymorph early to get that beast in the pool, so Witching Hour doesn't pull back Hadronox. But what you can also do is just kind of wait until like Cube comes out, or you can actually get a target on Hadronox. It's exactly what he did in his previous series.
A lot of times if you hit Skulking Geist, I think that's more plausible.
Yeah.
Time is now.
The problem is he hasn't hit Skulking Geist. And so, you know, I'm talking about importance to Jaina, but I think Skulking Geist early on is more important to shut off the Natural Eyes because, you know, Viper's looking at the board state now trying to figure out what the deal is. But the other problem for Tansoku in this spot is, you know, board space and Lich King cards being created. He's got 9 cards in hand. He's going to go to 10. He's going to add one from the Lich King as well. So there's a threat that he starts burning his own cards in addition. Can't make those big, massive Witching Hour plays if your board's full. So there's a lot of merit here for Viper being patient on the polymorph as well.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, go ahead, summon another Hadronox. I dare you.
Because now there's no polymorph, or there's no polymorph sheep in the pool, but Witching Hour does nothing.
Right.
Because it just summons Hadronox, you just polymorph that.
The timing is just as important, I think, as the effect in this regard. So Tansoku's just going to go for trying to overload Viper, maybe burn a critical card away from him.
Stonehill Defender is a pretty big value generator once we get to the point where both players are running out of resources. Now, that's a long way off, but what does he not want to see overdrawn here? Lich King? Dragon Caller Lana? Ooh.
I don't know, but that one felt pretty important.
Good thing he was patient with the first one.
Time
Wouldn't he have drawn that, though?
melts
No,
away.
he would have drawn the Stonehill instead. He'd have 2 Stonehills in hand.
Yeah.
Being results-oriented, that is.
Love me some confirmation bias.
You know, burning cards doesn't really matter that much unless it's one of those matchups that goes the full 30 cards.
Yeah.
Most decks just don't do that. It's in a matchup like this one that burning cards,
decide.
you know, actually is quite relevant sometimes.
Because that's just one less potentially pretty high value minion that Stonehill is not going to be able to generate. One less polymorph is map. One less Arcane Keysmith to potentially interrupt some of the plays that Tansoku wants to make.
Yep, and Viper says, you know what, I have enough life total here. Arcane Artificer is protecting me even more. I'm making another Water Elemental. I don't need to Blizzard this down and try to freeze it. I can just blow up stuff and then use the rest of my hand accordingly. Because the best time to use Blizzard is when you're under threat of a large swing of damage against you. And here with just a couple minions, Tansoku doesn't have that. Viper's been on top of patient play and using tools at the right times. I have to say. Like, I played a lot of this deck to try to prepare for it, but
So there's only 2 minions left in the deck. I think it's a Lich King or
and
Dragon Caller Lana. Whoa!
yeah, that's big. Was there a Doomsayer left?
Oh, there might have been a Doomsayer left as
And
well.
Gluttonous Ooze. And Skulking Geist. Oh, there was a lot of minions.
Okay, that was a lot of minions up, so that's not even that high of a chance to pull Lich King, and that is, I think, the highest value we'll make outside of Dragon Caller Lana. But for Tansoku, it's the highest value because it's another taunt
Yeah, the thing's going to be the second wave. Oh, is that another Death Grip? That's another Death Grip. But Alana gets drawn. So I think Alana's a big piece of this. But for Viper, this is really about wiping out the wave. I think if he gets past the waves of taunts all at once, that he's going to be fine. Individual threats are not the big problem for him.
But it is fatigue as well, because Tansoku by death gripping effectively pulls himself closer in that fatigue.
Yeah.
Because another death grip just straight up pulls a card out of Viper's deck. So he's going to be even once he uses that next death grip.
That is a big deal, but so far, you know, Viper's ahead on the damage race.
But he's running out of removal. He's used a Flame Strike. He's used both Meteors.
The Baron Geddon's down.
Baron Geddon's down. I mean, his card is minions. It's, if we calculate it correctly, it's Gluttonous Ooze, Skulking Geist, Doomsayer, I believe.
Yeah, because both Meteors are down. We've seen one of the Blizzards. We've seen one of the Flame Strikes.
So Raven Familiar is nothing. He's got no spells left in the deck, so Dragon's Fury is not even active. I'm pretty sure. And Tansoku still has stuff left. Both polymorphs are gone, so he can just Witching Hours.
Well, now there's a polymorph beast in that pool. So the Witching Hour is only a 50% draw at that point.
You're right.
So Viper really needs that Witching Hour to fail. If that Witching Hour doesn't fail, that's the big problem.
These Lich King cards have been pretty clutch for Tansoku. Death and Decay to take out the double Baron Geddon. Death Grip to steal Lich King and not allow Viper to have that swing. There's the Skulking Geist.
Geist is largely worth very little at this point.
Yeah.
Flame Strike will mop this up too, and then Viper's once again sitting, I think, in a fairly okay position. So it's going to come to, I think it's going to boil down to that Witching Hour. If that pops out another Hadronox, that's where Viper is really in trouble. But right now, it looks to me like he's still got this under relative control.
Yeah, but there's still two big threats, or three big threats. There's Primordial Drake, Lich King, and Sleepy Dragon. But once his Flame Strike is used, he has Voodoo Doll, and that's it. Dragoncaller Lana is going to be the big one, I think.
Yeah. That's the thing, is, you know, if Tansoku makes one more big wave, Viper doesn't have time to respond. If it's not a big wave and it's just a big threat, Dragoncaller Lana contests that.
Yeah.
I must decide.
Well, there's the other kicker of that second Frostmourne, too.
I'm out of cards.
There's the cube, so, you know, Tansoku isn't forced to make that decision immediately on the Witching Hour. But again, if he doesn't do something quick, that Viper's going to have time to play Dragoncaller Lana.
Yeah. He's mousing over it, and he made a face that was
Yikes,
like a whelp. Oh, cheap it is.
So now it's in a more calculated battle. And so Tansoku, here's the kicker of the next Frostmourne. That can, well, maybe not, but I mean, the Frostmourne will start buying him some ability to fight back on board. You know, he can turn a couple of the dragons that Alana will make into his offensive threats instead.
But he is on the clock now. He's got double branching paths, which will buy him
Waits for no one.
a ton of time with the armor game, but he's in fatigue. But Viper will also be in fatigue, and he can fight back with his own Frostmourne, so.
See, Viper, he's adjusted his glasses about 4 times in the last 2 turns, where he hasn't really done that much this match, and so.
I'm out of cards.
Yep. Doomsayer, last card. And this is it. What you see in their hands is what they have for the rest of the game. This will be a full board of dragons.
Does give up a water elemental to do that, though.
Yes. But this is the least pressure that he's going to be under in order to play the Dragoncaller Lana. Maybe you just wait. Maybe you just ping.
Time.
That's what he's trying to calculate. You know, he only has about 75 seconds to figure out what the rest of this game looks like.
Yeah.
It is fork in the road. Because Dragon Color Lana loses a little bit of the value on board. The Frostmourne gets to pick up some extra. If he goes with a slower play, he gets a Water Elemental now, but do those Water Elementals make up the impact of the Dragon Color Lana when, you know, say he faces down his own Lich King or a Sleepy Dragon or what have you?
Yeah.
In my opinion, this is the biggest thing he's going to be able to do for the rest of the game. Let's get it done and try to leverage this advantage. I don't think he has time to calculate all the outcomes right now.
Yeah. He does have Voodoo Doll to deal with one of the big threats that Tansoku is going to present.
That's a lot of dragons.
What can Stonehill Defender pick up that could really alter the course?
I'm thinking something that he plays big alongside the Stonehill. Something that doesn't delay the turn. It spikes immediately. So, like, you know, as weird as it sounds, like Furious at like a 5/9 taunt.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a big thing that gets in the way.
He's going to try and go for a Primordial Drake here. But, oh, man.
And so now, Viper, he gets to Voodoo Doll this and push.
And push 15 points of damage.
Is a freaking lot. I mean, you heard me ask you earlier, you know what I would do for 8 damage? For 15, it's not a question. I would probably discard my hand.
Would you shave your beard?
Yeah. It grows back in like a day. You know that Santa Claus movie that Tim Allen's in where he shaves and it just grows back? It's like that.
Impressive. All right.
Had the Arcane Keysmith too. And I think Viper's got it wrapped up.
Yeah. Because Tansoku also has to worry about healing. He's taking 2 fatigue damage next turn, which means he's down to 4. Which means he's just dead on board if he plays one of his big threats.
And if he doesn't play one of his big threats, he's pretty much dead. Pretty much any way you slice it, he's going to end up dead.
Yeah. Looks like Explosive Runes probably has to be...
Yeah, Viper's just, he's dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's. This is not the time to make a bad decision on a weird circumstance that you didn't account for.
Yeah.
If you have the time, take it.
Job done.
Okay. Ice Barrier. I guess he really just wins on board, so... In the weird chance...
As you always say that I say, it's multiple roads to El Paso.
It's a great point. I never knew what the appeal was. Just a place in Texas.
Just not enough to contend. No taunts. Just wasn't enough, I don't think.
Well, I mean, it's a lot. He's going to take 17, he's going to take 20.
What's that mean for taunts? This just isn't enough to fend off the board state.
Yeah. What about just chaining
Yeah.
Hills? There you go.
That sounds great.
Phantom Militia is a way to generate more value on the following turn.
Hungry is not bad either.
Yeah, but
Sometimes it gives you something to ping.
that's correct. Sometimes it gives them a poisonous minion, but
That happened to me yesterday. Not a good feeling.
nope.
But I think Viper's just like on the fatigue clock. He's just got this. You know, Tansoku doesn't have a way to heal himself from this point.
Maybe that's why he took the Ice Barrier, because he realized that he was going to be able to push through threats anyway. So he was trying to make sure that he wins with that fatigue clock, because Tansoku next turn is taking 3. So this is 20 damage total with 17 on the board, 3 from fatigue. 21 with just the ping to face.
He's like, I'm not even worried about the water elementals at this point. I got stuff to do. I'm just going to hit you. Just locked.
Yeah, because he goes down to 3, takes 3 this turn, goes down to 5. Next turn he pings, takes 4 fatigue damage. So he's got it locked up this next turn. Actually, no, they armor up. But if he armor ups, then he's not playing like Sleepy Dragon. He has to alter his game plan and can't put as much health on the board as possible. Yeah. Tansoku concedes. And a marathon of a game 1, but Viper takes the game.
I'll tell you what, that is a closer game than Viper's looking for in that one, but he'll take it.
This is what his lineup was built to do, right? Control Mage is in there for those Even Warlocks, for those Taunt Druids. Again, both these players had the similar game plan coming in, but arrived at that in a much different way. They're trying to target the most popular archetypes. Tansoku did it with some hard-hitting, mid-rangey combo decks like Recruit Hunter and Miracle Rogue, whereas Viper did it with some disruption decks like the Control Mage.
Yeah, I still like the call from both players. I mean, we've seen Recruit Hunter be just fantastic throughout the weekend so far. Control Mage, I think, has been surprisingly good, just, you know, again, given what players have brought to the tournament. And Miracle Rogue banned on both sides. You know, it's a big win to pick up, but that's one of the matchups that you absolutely expect to win if you're on Viper's side. So I think right now we're still at status quo.
Yeah, and Tansoku, he's already played a match today. At least this is going to be a long series. Mental fatigue is a thing, so it's something to keep in the back of your mind if he goes a game down. But we're going to get into game number 2 in a few moments. In the meantime, let's get to know these players just a little bit better.
This year so far went really well for me. Last year, competitive Hearthstone didn't went too well for me. Even missed the playoffs, which was really unfortunate by like 1 point. This year I just want to prove people, yeah, I'm actually good at this game, and keep going with those a little fancy lineups. I think my friends are already like happy with me and they're just supporting me all the time, and my family is still kind of curious, like, is it worth it? Is our son just kind of wasting his time? Winning here would probably kind of make them, I don't know, feel happy and feel kind of safe. I think it's about me, that I just always want to be good at something. I always want to win, always want to be at the top of a leaderboard or something like that. So people can look at you, you can be the best, and yeah, winning is fun to me.
Viper's coming back to LA.
If I win here, then I might just take a year or 2 off to play Hearthstone, to go all in on esports, which would be really nice and probably really fun.
ツンさんっていう日本のプレイヤーの人とかが世界大会で活躍してるのを見て、自分も大きな大会に出たいなって思ったのは覚えてますね。
He is riding that Control Warrior victory all the way to the Summer Championships.
Another Japanese player qualifying for the Summer Championship, and he's going to Los Angeles. Look at it, it's beautiful, and Tansoku is going to be able to experience all of that.
今回チームメンバー1人じゃなくてフレンドの日本人のフレンドの人と、一緒に調整しました。で、初めてこういう練習の仕方でやったので、それがうまくいったのかなっていうのはあると思います。名前の由来とかでもいいんですかね。足が短いから短足だみたいな。スポーツ観戦とかですね、サッカーとか野球とか、あと相撲とか、そういうのを競技的なスポーツを見るのがすごい好きですね。結構人生がもう変わるレベルの出来事だと思いますね。賞金もそうですけど、年末の世界大会に出れるので、やっぱり夢があると思います。負けてもいいやって思ってますね。負けても自分になんか期待しなければ緊張しないと思うので、そうですね、負けてもいいやっていう感じでプレーしてますね。そうですね、神社にお参り行ったんで多分勝てると思います。
Welcome back, everybody, to the Summer Championship live from Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. It's Hearthstone time. No, I'm just kidding.
It's Hearthstone time for those guys. The start of that shot, I saw them queuing up a game. Gonna have to get my hands dirty down there later on.
Yeah. I'm going to challenge some people in the audience.
Who likes getting beat by aggro decks?
You guys be ready.
Me.
For Doomhammer.
Me and Admirable are pretty good
At aggro decks.
Yeah. But let's get into it. Game number 2, Tansoku versus Viper. You know, you want to know something? Tansoku.
I want to know something.
Tansoku is a huge TJ fan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How big of a TJ fan? On a scale of 1 to huge.
Huge.
Wow, it was 3 U's.
Yeah, I told the story on the broadcast the other day, but I signed his phone.
Not the phone case.
No, the phone. Permanent marker.
I was shocked when I saw it happen.
If he wins, I'm going to see if he'll let me sign his face. And then I'll have him sign my face. Because I'm a big Tansoku fan. I actually chose him. I put him on the board.
You put him on the board a lot.
His success led me to become the prediction champion of the summer playoffs just a few weeks ago. Did you know that? That I was the prediction champion?
I knew that, TJ, that you were the prediction champion. You tell me weekly. Even when you weren't the prediction champion and you had just heisted Sottle's trophy, you told me weekly that you were the prediction champion.
I just knew all along that it would happen.
Clairvoyance.
It was only a matter of time. Taunt Druid versus Shutterwalk Shaman.
Yeah.
And this is no ordinary Shutterwalk Shaman that's admirable.
It's not, but it's also about the similar style of matchup that Tansoku just faced, where it's an uphill battle. There's not quite as much, like, say, like super inevitability on Viper's side, but there is a certain point where he no longer wins the game.
Yeah.
You know, in addition to the way that Polymorph worked in the previous matchup, Hex works very similarly to that in this one. And
but oftentimes just kind of better.
Yeah, but the other thing too is that similar to the way that Jaina works in the other matchup, where once it's down, it's very difficult to kill Viper. Once the Shutterwalk happens, you no longer can win at that point. But that being said, it's way more difficult for Viper to just play a turn 9 Shutterwalk. He's got to get the right pool of battle cries first.
Yeah, and the one thing that we talked about with Bunny Hopper's list that Viper also has since they have the same list is that he runs only 1 copy of Life Drinker. And when we asked him about it, he said it's, you know, kind of specifically because of the Even Warlock. He said, you don't really want to damage Even Warlock. You need the Life Drinker in for other matchups because you need that inevitable win condition, but putting the Even Warlock below 15 health is a liability and something that he didn't want to have to deal with. And instead, he's got some other interesting tech in here. One, of course, being the Ancestral Healing Black Knight, which blew Admirable's mind yesterday.
I couldn't believe, I forgot about it. Totally forgot.
Yeah, but it won't blow your mind this time because now you know. But Black Knight also has all the uses in the world.
It's so good.
In this this matchup in particular, because the deck is named after taunt cards. It's called Taunt Druid.
Wait a minute, Black Knight destroys taunts.
It does. Does it destroy Taunt Druid? Not by itself. And another way that Viper and, of course, Bunny Hopper have kind of made this deck, or tried to make it better against the slower controlling decks. There's like one Lightning Storm. There's a Murmuring Elemental to make the combo happen.
Yep.
There's the double Earthshock, which is a great way to just get rid of a Twilight Drake against Even Warlock. And of course, the Bog Shaper.
Ooh, I love Bog Shaper.
Yeah, 1, it's just a big minion, and 2, it helps you get to your combo faster.
Every time you cast a spell, draw a minion from your deck.
That's right. So it's kind of like a replacement Hemet in a way. But instead of just getting rid of all of your cards that cost less than 3, it draws one of the minions that getting rid of your cards that cost less than 3 helps you do as well.
So exactly like Hemet.
Yeah. I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, the point you were going with it is that it helps you get to the right cards, just like Hemet.
Thank you.
Akin to what Hemet does, Bog Shaper helps you get to the minions you need.
Yeah. But one thing that I'm pretty sure we've played like 8 times on broadcast so far.
At least.
Was our clip from Talkstone where we talked about Sinto and his play at HCT Seoul, where he got a Shutterwalk burn because he left too much card draw on the board. In Viper, he's pretty good friends with Sinto. So I think he knows.
Yep. Get the Black Knight out. Part of the Battle Cry pool. That's one of the ways that Viper can win this game too. Is like when Life Drinker's not there, you just have a lot of instances of Black Knight going once your Shutterwalk turn starts rolling. And that to me is a really big deal. If you're in Tansoku's spot, is that means there's just one more thing that you have to fight against in order to make this game a win. And it's just so hard for Tansoku to win if he cannot either burn Shutterwalk or put Viper to an aggressive test early on.
And Viper throwing in the Ancestral Healing does a couple of things, gets a card out of his hand, but also ensures that Mana Tide's going to stick around. So he trades Ancestral Healing for basically another card in his deck.
He was thinking exactly Primordial Drake.
Yeah, I was going into turn 8.
What to do?
You want to draw cards, just not too many. I'm curious when he stops. Viper's being a little bit more aggressive with his resources in this one too. I kind of like it.
I like it too.
Because honestly, Viper's current deck acts a lot more like a mid-range deck than the Control Mage did. With all the big removal spells. In this one, he actually needs to deliver a lethal damage at some point. It's not just blow up all of Tansoku's resources and then you win the game. He's drawing so many cards that he does need to deliver a lethal blow. So I love the aggressive play he's been putting on here.
Sleepy Dragon, a little bit tougher. If he hexes, he...
Healing Rain first.
You can Healing Rain first, but if you Healing Rain, then you draw a card with Acolyte. Then you hex, then you draw another card with Acolyte.
So maybe punching the Acolyte first. Then you win Healing Rain.
Stuff he has to find in balance because he still needs to find the pieces, but he doesn't
true.
want to make himself vulnerable to, if he leaves Acolyte on the board, like a Hero Power Naturalized to overdraw him.
You're making a lot of good points. You're making too much sense at this point.
I better tone it down a little bit then.
There is little time.
But if he's drawing cards, he's also trading card to draw a card. So this is an in-between. He's going to Healing Rain, then trade in the Acolyte, and then hex. He's going to draw a card at the end of his turn, so he is going to go up to 9. So Naturalized would burn 2 cards. 1 card from the Naturalized pickup, and then 1 card from the natural draw. But Tansoku does not have Naturalized.
And Tansoku's getting beat up this game.
Yeah, but both hexes are gone.
Yeah, but he's got one real taunt in the pool, an Ironman Golem? Is that 2 frogs?
Frogs. Yeah.
This is not good for Tansoku. This is really bad. So the Wrath is like a little bit of a reprieve from that, but Viper's just got so much stuff.
And now he's got to think, do you kill the Mana Tide Totem or let him draw cards?
I don't know. I hate leaving Mana Tide Totem on the board. Every time my opponent draws 2 cards from Mana Tide Totem, I feel like I'm losing.
I wait for no one.
How about 4 cards?
Well,
because I'm pretty sure that's what this Mana Tide is approaching.
Yeah, the thing, it's not even like a scaling thing. I don't feel like I'm losing, twice as much if they draw twice as many cards. I feel like I'm losing like,
How long can this
compounding interest. Is that the word I'm looking for? I guess it feels like it adds up to a lot more than just whatever that 4th card is.
Feels like when you're stuck in traffic and that one guy just tries to do whatever he can to get 1 car in front of you.
You're just bringing up old stuff. That meme's a day old, TJ. That's like 6 years on the internet.
All right, well, picks up Naturalized. There's 9 cards in Viper's hand. This will burn 2. All right.
Oh, wow. Wow.
There's Shock Farsight.
It was right on the brink of destruction. Shutterwalk slips right into that one spot that guy's been going after so that he can hit the exit in time.
If Tansoku draw Naturalized last turn, This would be a different game. But alas.
If you ask me, I believe that from this point, there's only one burn left that matters. The Grumble.
I mean, I don't even think much matters.
If he burns the Grumble, you know, Viper's still, he's got to operate on the fair number of Shutterwalks at that point.
But Tansoku's doing nothing. He did the most powerful combination of cards he could do in his deck, and he summoned 2 0/1 taunts and a 3/6.
The most powerful thing that Viper's deck does is utilize Grumble with Shutterwalk.
But that's true, but
I think that if for somehow Grumble gets burned, that's the way that Viper's in trouble. But that's it. If that Grumble does not get burned, there's no way Viper's going to lose this game. And he is doing a lot to make sure that that Grumble does not get burned.
yeah. Bring up hand size, so even with naturalized, he's only going to have 1 card overdrawn.
I honestly might even consider Earthshocking my own Mana Tide in that spot. That's how far ahead I think Viper is.
Well, I think that was even just, that was a missed sequence because he Earthshocked the Iron Golem before he traded into it. He could have just traded into it, then Earthshocked it to kill it. And you could see him.
Oh my!
You could see him try to attack it at the end, so he left 3 damage on the board. So it's a slight mistake. I liked where Viper was going, but he just didn't get there in the right way.
So right now, the Grumble would return 1 Sarnite Chain Gang, the Mana Tide Totem, and the rest of the minions would get destroyed.
But then he's got all of his combo pieces, right?
Well, he wants the Murmuring in there. Oh, he just has to play the Murmuring though, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah. So Murmuring plus the Grumble, I think, is about enough to get this done. You know, Viper's trying to look and see if he has a way to even better manipulate that is really the thing here.
What to do?
He could just trade in his whole board and
that's true.
Then Murmuring Grumble.
The trading in the Sarnite Chain Gang would return the Life Drinker instead at that point then. Right? Did he play Life Drinker or the Sarnite first last turn?
Well, I mean, he can manipulate this board in almost any way possible in order to get the right outcome. But just going...
So he wants the Murmuring back.
Yeah, Murmuring plus Grumble, I mean, that just guarantees it. And in order for Tansoku to defend against this, he has to put on enough pressure to where Viper's 1 Life Drinker is not going to be a big enough health swing or damage swing to end the game.
Well,
there's a ton of frogs. I don't.
Yeah. Does that affect the percent? Did we find that out yesterday?
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah.
So there's multiple instances of Frog versus Hadronox.
Yeah.
And Naturalize does next to nothing right now.
I mean, it removes the Grumble from the board. That's as much as he can hope for, and it gets Viper closer to defeat.
Oh, you know what it does, actually? It delays Viper for a turn on this, because if he goes Murmuring and then Shutterwalk, it fills up his hand.
I mean, his hand would have been full anyway. Because he was at 9 cards, so he would have been at 10 regardless. He just burns the 2 extra instead. Puts the 2 extra in his hand.
He's going to end up with 1 Shutterwalk and 1 Murmuring Elemental when this is done. But he's going to blow up a lot of taunts.
Say it with me, Admirable. My jaws that
Yeah. Well, Tansoku has conceded at this stage. He's not defeating Viper at that point. His one hope to win is to burn something critical. That is another extremely lopsided match for Viper. And so with the way the lineups pan out, you can see why Viper was considered such a favorite in this matchup. 2 of his decks versus Taunt Druid are basically automatic wins.
Yeah.
He's crafted them to do exactly that.
I think the one deck that's the big vulnerability point, though, is the last deck for Viper. If we take a look at the lineups, Viper has even Warlock left. Tansoku has Taunt Druid. He's got Recruit Hunter and his own Even Warlock. Recruit Hunter has been tearing up Even Warlocks all day, or all week.
It's a good matchup.
Yeah.
But when you have 3 tries on a deck, even when the matchups are pretty unfavored,
you're still a big favorite to win.
You're still a big favorite to win.
Yeah, he's got 3 tries. One of those is a mirror match.
But Tansoku, he's not out of it. And that's really the big key. If you're not out of it yet, you keep going, still win the match.
The key is to just take it one game at a time. Because you can't look at it as, oh, I'm down 3-0. You look at it as, I just need to win this very Hearthstone game. And then I get to play another Hearthstone game.
So on and so forth.
And so on and so forth until he's accrued 3 wins. And then he gets to play Hearthstone again tomorrow.
I was just going to skip way ahead to the World Championship point,
Yeah.
where once you win that one, there's no one left.
Yeah, but then you just play again next year.
Yep.
But Viper is currently up 2-0 in the series, 1 game away from securing his spot in the quarterfinals. So as we get ready for game number 3, let's go and take a look at Viper's road to the Summer Championship.
Well played!
In this video, I'm gonna profile Viper, who recently earned his spot as one of the European representatives in the 2018 HCT Summer Championship. Viper has been a part of the Hearthstone pro scene since 2016, when he earned top 8 in that year's Summer Championship, and in 2018, Viper's enjoying another breakout year, including multiple high ladder finishes, a top 8 in HCT Oslo, and most recently, his qualification for the Summer Championship. Viper's a great player to follow because he's notorious for playing the hardest decks. Today, we're going to take a look at one of his best plays from the recent HCT Summer Playoffs that earned Viper his spot in the Summer Championship. Let's hop right into Game 2 of the Summer Playoffs decider match between Viper and Fayley. Fayley's piloting Control Warlock against, you guessed it, Viper's signature Miracle Rogue. It's Viper's turn 3, and there are just so many possible plays this turn. At first glance, the best option is to coin out a 4-drop for value. But which one to play? Elven Minstrel or Faldori Strider? Well, you guessed it. Viper just plays an uncomboed SI7 agent and passes. Wait, what? This play is actually really clever. Viper understands the importance of coin and Miracle Rogue. He wants to keep this card up as long as possible for a critical turn. And he can just play Faldori Strider next turn. But what about Elven Minstrel? Viper realizes the scariest card Fayley can play next turn is Mountain Giant. And so playing SI7 now is just a better answer. If Fayley does play Mountain Giant, then Viper can go 4-mana minion, coin, Cold Blood, and use his dagger to kill it. And if Fayley doesn't play Mountain Giant, then Viper gets to save the coin and instead play an on-curve Faldori Strider. In fact, Fayley does have the Giant, which is perfectly answered by Viper just as he planned. It's incredible game knowledge like this that earned Viper his spot in the Summer Championship. This has been our profile of Viper for the HCT Summer Championship. Please join me in wishing him the best of luck in the tournament. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, brought to you by the coaches at Gamer Sensei, please visit playhearthstone.com/esports for more of the Well Played series and all things Hearthstone esports.
Well played!
Welcome back, everybody, to the HCT Summer Championship. I'm TJ, once again joined by That's Admirable.
Yo.
And Viper is currently on match point. This is a decider match. The winner of this game, or this match rather, moves on to the quarterfinals to play on Sunday.
The top 8.
The top 8, they're one match away from the world champion.
Right. Tansoku, he's got to win 3 games straight if he's going to keep this one alive. He's up against even Warlock, and so far his Taunt Druid has failed him twice.
Yeah.
If it fails him a 3rd time, if any of his other decks fail him just once, that'll be the end of this.
And picks up Master Oakheart in the opening, but no ramp to go alongside of it.
That's been the... Has he had ramp in any 3 of these games?
He has
had a Nourish on 5 one of the games?
Yeah, he has had ramp. The thing is he hasn't been able to play that ramp on curve. It's always been slightly late. By that time, his game plan's changed. He's had to expend some cards to do other things, and really just hasn't had the opportunity to just play a clean Oakheart on 9 or on 8 with the coin.
Now, we've seen this matchup In the last couple of on-broadcast matches go in the favor of Taunt Druid.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's been happening is as those players play Mountain Giant, it's promptly answered with a Naturalize. So right now, Viper does not have a Mountain Giant in hand, and so he's going to be, using that 1-mana hero power to draw a lot of cards. But if Tansoku doesn't have to naturalize a Mountain Giant, that's basically the exact same outcome.
Yeah. Viper still needs to find those threats, though. So right now he has Lich King, but nothing else besides that.
This game very much does pan out to how much pressure can Viper apply, because if it's not a lot and pretty early on, it's really easy for Tansoku to scale his way up the curve. There's not nearly as much removal in Viper's deck as there were in the previous 2 games. But there is way more threat. Not thinking Stubborn Gastropod is really going to get that threat underway, though. Pretty weak little dude, I'd say.
Yeah. Not the weakest.
It's poisonous. But
and as we sort of start to get going in this match and players just hero powering back and forth, we actually had a chance to sit down with Tansoku. And he had some interesting things to say about Europe and their performance the last couple championships. Take a look.
もうヨーロッパの人たちにはそのプレイング
I feel like I can't just go off skill alone. European players are dominating on that front. It's more of a wishing for good luck.
He's frightened.
I'd be frightened too.
Well, now I would be. He's down 2-0. That Stubborn Gastropod is just pretty annoying.
It's kind of crazy that card found its way in. Because he is really annoying. When I first saw it, I was like, that's kind of weird. And I played with it, I was like, wow, that's pretty good. Just makes sense.
It's a snaily snail world out there.
Yeah, that's what they always say.
All right, well, this is one of those instances that we talked about earlier where Coin Nurse is more acceptable because he's got the follow-up of Wild Growth to accelerate that curve.
Yep. There's just stuff to play in the way, too. Primordial Drake's going to do a fine job at just stopping damage, and then he's got Master O-Card.
Yeah.
One of the big kickers is, we talked about Viper needing to have that early threat online. Twilight Drake is definitely that, but Skulking Geist is there as well. So that rips away one of the big power plays with the Hadronox Naturalized turn.
Yeah.
Viper doesn't want to heal himself. He wants to get to 15 and activate Hooked Reavers as well.
Yeah, he could probably guess that Primordial Drake sitting on the other side. But in case it's not, and also because, like you mentioned, doesn't want to heal his face to make sure they activates Hooked Reavers.
Black Knight here as well. Keep that pressure high.
Yeah, keep the pressure high and play for that tempo. He would push 8 more damage, putting Tansoku down to 17.
Now, it's possible he doesn't and goes for the Skulking Geist. But
he can play Skulking Geist next turn. If he thinks that Master O-Card's going to come out, I think that's definitely a reasonable play. And now Tansoku is under so much pressure.
Wow. Plays the Skulking Geist. Naturalized going to get burned from hand.
Yeah. But does get Hadronox. Does get a Primordial Drake.
Yeah, it's not a Sleepy, though.
He has second Dragon Hatcher and the Sleepy Dragon in hand, so he is going to be able to chain together these threats. But if the Naturalize is burned by Skulking Geist, Tansoku is not going to have a way to trade in Hadronox, and currently he doesn't have a way to just bring it back with Witching Hour.
Well, one of the big problems here is that Viper, he has to respect his Hadronox to some degree. So is Silence in the forefront of his mind at this point? If he pays that much attention to Silence, it doesn't just go face. I mean, where does he recover this damage from? Right now, he's going to end up losing his whole board if he doesn't have big stuff to play. He doesn't really have a way to super fight back against this. And his life total is not exactly safe either. We just saw Tansoku put 14 extra attack on board.
And also Dragon Hatcher is a big thing. Now he's got a way to just deal with Dragon Hatcher on board.
It's just such a massive swing that O-Card provides.
And Viper running out of time. We saw him make a little bit of a sequencing error last game with the Urshock as the rope was burning. But it looks like Spellbreaker plus Gastropod is going to be the play.
Whoa!
Your magic shall not save
I think that Viper is trying to play to a spot here where he rips a second Hellfire and kills Tansoku.
But he gives Tansoku a way to just kill off his own Hadronox. Now, granted, it will only summon back, I believe, one Primordial Drake, but another Taunt's going to come out. Tansoku has a Branching Paths and an Oaken Summons to gain health.
Can you just kill him?
7 plus 7 on board.
That's 19.
8 more?
That's more than 19. Yeah, he just kills him.
It's 22. Can he deal the damage in a way with the hero power? Is that a naturalize? Yeah, that's enough. Wow.
Honestly, Viper didn't have a way to fight back against this. He really didn't. Any way you slice this, any way you slice this, Viper was in a bad spot. And so he went for a play where Tansoku couldn't aggressively counterpunch. And if he couldn't gain armor, meant that he could, you know, draw a Hellfire and then double Hellfire to end the game. I actually like the way that Viper played that, because once that Oak Heart hit, he just did not have a kind of board that could fight against that in any long-term way and come out ahead.
Yeah, as soon as you start playing the long game with a Taunt Druid, they're gonna wreck you. He would have had to trade 2 of his minions in and trade off the Dragon Hatcher, giving Tansoku basically full initiative to do whatever he wanted. Now, granted, his line of play, it's unlikely to win in the game because he has to know that he dies to Branching Paths. Even without the Naturalize, Tansoku would have been able to just hero power, push for 70, would have been at 8, he still dies.
Right.
So it's just Branching Paths that kills him.
But
or armor gain.
Right, so mind you, like with the way that he's lining up to try to draw and play double Hellfire, the armor gain kills that plan as well. So he's accounting just for no Branching Paths to be in that spot. I think it's very smart play there from Viper, because he's not going to win by trying to fight for board from that spot.
Yeah, really tough call to make, especially under pressure. A lot of players tend to go for the safer line in that situation, but Viper takes the risk. It doesn't pay off, and Tansoku stays alive. And we're going to get into game number 3. But before we do that, let's go ahead and have some more fun with the Hearthstone developers.
The Hearthstone Championship Tour continues. It's go time! This is the 2018 Hearthstone Summer Championship. With the developers.
I know people who will only play Hearthstone on the toilet, which is interesting because when I see them come playing Hearthstone on my friends list, I know exactly what they're doing.
I don't know, that's the beauty of modern technology, man.
So if you're ever standing in line at a bathroom stall, that might actually be the reason why.
The strangest place I played it at probably was when I was vacationing in Cabo. I was trying to hit Legend, and it was at the end of the month, and I was just playing in the pool on my phone, and then like one of my friends took a video of it, of just me swimming in the pool playing Hearthstone.
There was a video that circulated on Reddit at some point where I saw a guy kind of busking, playing a piano, and in between playing certain pieces, he would take his turn.
I don't really play Hearthstone in that many unusual places, although I do have to sometimes, like, very discreetly play Hearthstone because my wife will be like sleeping next to me in the bed, and then like I'll have to like play Hearthstone while like contorting my arms so I don't disturb her. So occasionally like one of her arms will come over here and like, oh well, I gotta play Hearthstone like this now.
On this week's episode of Talkstone. Now it's time for the well-played moment, where we talk about our favorite plays.
Our well-played moment has to be from HCT Soul just a few weeks back. Taunt Druid versus Shadowwalk Shaman.
Cinderlaw goes with a 2/4 Acolyte opinion that he had just drawn thanks to Prince Keliseth earlier on. Saiyan recognizes this, and he's like, well, I'm not really aggroing him down. He's drawn so many cards, I just gotta go for it here. And so he swipes, and he naturalizes, and he puts more damage in the Acolyte, and everything seems to be going well. You know, the pieces are getting burned.
It was burned.
I'm like, these are important cards. These are very important cards. But so I was like, everything still works. And then, all of a sudden, well played. Boom! Shudderwalk just blows up. And Cinderlaw, you can see it in his face. It's like rage and fury. Like Cinderlaw, he's like, I'm done. I can't win. It's over. Just concedes. And it's like, it's just insane to watch.
Kind of the perfect way to cap off that intense series with Cinderlaw burning the Shadowwalk.
Game 5. Oh.
Yeah.
This will be, I think, the first APAC tour stop for season 2. I am cheering for Staz.
最大改变就是好像突然很多人都在台湾的人都认识。
It's a bunch of smart, cool people that you want to hang out with.
Gia, you need to tell us where it's good.
Follow your nose.
The way the decks line up, I don't think he ever gets there is the thing.
That's it. That's gonna do it.
Oh my gosh.
Took a little bit of a
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Summer Championship. I'm TJ, joined by That's Admirable. We just got to watch a little bit of a fun piece with the Hearthstone developers playing Hearthstone in weird places. Nathan, what's the weirdest place you've ever played Hearthstone?
I'd say the weirdest place I ever played Hearthstone, it's probably like right here.
Oh, me and Admirable are actually
right now.
playing against each other right now. This is what we do when we cast.
You're done.
Oh, looks like we have a match to cast.
Yeah, I just took Ozruk, so
I'm gonna wait for you. I'm gonna wait for you to concede.
I'm not conceding. We'll see what happens. It's 2-1 in favor of Viper right now. He just lost against lost on his even Warlock.
Yeah, I mean, I talked earlier about the even Warlock being the liability.
I am your nightmare.
But I think this one's going to be the one that Viper's going to be able to take the opportunity with. It's the mirror matchup.
Yeah, I mean, when it's a liability that we've been seeing in players' lineups, that seems to be like a consensus thing across the board. Is there a liability at this point? I mean, at this point now, it comes down to tech choices. You look at the tech choices, they line up pretty evenly across the board. They both have a copy of Black Knight in their deck. They both have brought to 6 Swampus, which is dead.
They both have Skulking Guys, which is effectively dead. It's just a body in that case.
The difference is that Viper has 2 Stubborn Gastropods. Tansoku has 1 Stubborn Gastropod.
Stubborn Gastropod is pretty darn good in this matchup.
It is. And in its place, he has a 2nd copy of Doomsayer instead. So that is the only difference between the 2 of their decks.
We have turned our curse.
And the rest of the time, it is up to a few key things. So one of the big ones is Mountain Giant, and then how the coin works with Mountain Giant. Viper actually has the first opportunity to play one on turn 3 should he draw it.
Yeah.
But Tansoku's got it right now, and this is one of the reasons that Stubborn Gastropod is in the deck, is to make sure that you can take away that turn 3 Mountain Giant play from your opponent.
Oh.
But this is exactly what the Stubborn Gastropod's for, though.
Yeah, because of life tap, he'll still be able to roll into Mountain Giant. Because with the card draw next turn, it will still cost 4, so he's got Stubborn Gastropod to contest. Then he's got his own Mountain Giant as a follow-up.
So, Viper's got to slow down.
I mean, is he coin Hellfire?
I don't know, but this is the reason that Stubborn Gastropod, I think, is stronger than the Doomsayer, accounting for specifically this mirror matchup, is because the Doomsayer kills itself. Stubborn Gastropod is not, and he is going to coin Hellfire.
That was supposed to be a joke.
It's not. Stubborn Gastropod's no joke, TJ.
Well, now Tansoku's got the a little bit of an advantage here. He's got a Mountain Giant, and Viper does not. Now he does.
Yeah, it does have. So
but he's got attacker's advantage with his Mountain Giant.
But here's the thing: do you want to put your opponent at 15, or below, for that matter? That gives them an opportunity to play Hooked Reaver.
That is very true.
There is a balance to this where right now Tansoku doesn't necessarily have the removal to push past a Hooked Reaver. If he has, he does have a Spellbreaker in his hand. Yeah, he probably just ships this upstairs then.
He's got double Hellfire, so finishing the game with damage from hand is actually a very real possibility. If you have the attacker's advantage there, the only problem is that his mana is a little bit awkward. If he could play like Vulgar Homunculus, and well, actually next turn he will. So he does have the follow-up. Oh man.
Many possibilities.
This is like in the same situation that Viper was in last game, where he has the chance to take a really big risk that has a huge payoff. Viper went for it, but Tansoku's just gonna go ahead and go with the trade.
See, that's the other thing too, is when he plays the big Twilight Drake here, he can shift the momentum as well. If he trades off the Giant, that means he actually can get to Hooked Reaver first in this instance.
And he's gonna be comfortable with discarding a card.
I think there is a lot to be said about the fact that he can, shift that momentum around. I think that's a big deal.
So many possibilities.
That Stubborn Gastropod just really put a wrench in Viper's plan. As long as Tansoku keeps laying down threats, he's going to be a threat behind the whole game. And now he's behind in the life battle, which is this weird battle that goes on. If you activate Hooked Reaver before your opponent, then you have even more of an attacker's advantage.
Yeah, so Viper, you know, if he chooses to Spellbreaker here, he's not drawing a card. He's shifting a lot of health off of this, but it's not really changing anything. If he goes to Doomsayer here, and Tansoku has Spellbreaker, a lot of times he just loses the initiative.
He's too far.
And gets rid of the Defile, but he's perfectly okay with that because the game plan was to tap last turn so he gets Vulgar Homunculus and Hooked Reaver this turn, being at exactly 15.
Black Knight's a big swing here, though.
None.
Challenges, and it kills a Hooked Reaver. You don't get much better than that.
Not at all.
Right now, the way I'm seeing this pan out is it looks like Tansoku might still get an edge here.
Don't tell me what to do.
So he's got Lich King on deck.
And again, always thinking about the attack. If he puts him down to 19, Vulgar Homunculus plus a life tap activates the Hooked Reaver. And that's not an unreasonable combo for him to have, and forgoes it. Tell both players very experienced in the matchup.
It is telling Viper that, you know, that big swing turn of the Black Knight isn't there. Viper's got to start thinking about Lich King too. How do I set this up? If Viper had just a bit stronger of a hand, I would say that Doomsayer is looking so good here. It might be enough though still. Manipulating the Doomsayer timing is a super huge deal in this matchup. Rebuying the initiative in a spot where you are pretty much just going to lose it.
Almost out of time.
Just gonna counter pressure.
No, I like the Doomsayer. I still think it's viable here. This looks really wacky, but honestly, I think this is very heads-up play from Viper, where he knows that buying back initiative from a Lich King turn is going to be one of the most important things that he can do.
So either Viper gets to have initiative on his play in the next turn, or Tansoku has to interrupt his turn to remove the Doomsayer to protect his board, which gives Viper an uncontested Twilight Drake on the other side.
That's right.
Your magic shall not save you.
When Tansoku's having none of it, he's going to say, I'm going to keep board initiative. I'm not going to give it to you. You have to take it back.
Yep. And I think this is wise as well from Tansoku. He recognizes how important losing that initiative is. Look what this does to Viper, too. It strips away his ability to play Lich King on this turn. This is tough, man. I don't know.
I mean, Dread Infernal looks very appealing here.
To Defile Dread
With
Infernal.
a Defile, you can clear the board.
Job's done. I think this is as strong as it's going to get because Blood Reaver Gul'dan is going to be the next big power point for both players. So you have to pay to respect that in some way.
Warriors of the frozen wastes. Rise.
Just 1 point of damage away from killing this in any reasonable way. Right now it's trade Hellfire, play some stuff.
What's the ideal Lich King card? Anti-Magic Shell is great because as soon as you take board initiative, you're going to be able to run away with the game. You cut off the
Probably
Spellstone.
Death and Decay.
Death and Decay is really good. It allows you to just push past. Also, Death Coil, just having that extra burst, because Hellfire, Death Coil, well, I guess at this point for Tansoku, it's just Hellfire, Death Coil. That's still meaningful burst against a deck that loves to float around low life totals.
Yep, so Viper spends his whole turn taking care of Lich King and connects for 6, dropping Tansoku to 2. Viper just covers his face. Spellstone's back, which means that Tansoku isn't going to have the first Blood Reaver Gul'dan. And that's bad news for him.
Yeah. But he will have the first Blood Reaver Gul'dan that has minions stick if he plays the Doomsayer.
That's true.
Because with a 10-man card, you ain't doing nothing else.
Well, see, that's what I'm wondering. It's actually is kind of brilliant now that you're looking at it, is if Viper plays Blood Reaver Gul'dan here and loses his board, does he lose the swing that's necessary to end the game?
So if he expects Tansoku to have Blood Reaver Gul'dan, then his burst is limited. If he plays his own here, I mean, there's really nothing else to do. He has no way to interact with the Doomsayer on the other side of the board.
I think he's got to play it.
If he either passes over initiative completely to Tansoku and gives him an opportunity to play Blood Reaver Gul'dan,
so
I don't know if you can afford to wait.
I don't think you can.
Almost out of time.
There's Nalgadon. Ooh. He's just chilling. He's waiting in the quarterfinals. Yeah.
Join time off. Join the matches. Why not? I don't blame him. This is another kind of smart play here from Viper. You load up the pool with demons. That way you can play your Blood Reaver Gul'dan and actually get your demons back on the board. So you delay your Blood Reaver Gul'dan in that regard, but you end up with a situation where you're not just giving up by playing that.
There's only the 2 demons with the taunts because the Hook Rivers just come back as 4/4. So he's going to bring these back, but can Tansoku push through? Is my question.
Well, it's the Lich King card at that point. You mentioned Anti-Magic Shell and how important it was to make that big push. Shell here results in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage. Still a little bit shy.
But he's just going to load up with Anti-Magic Shell because he knows that Viper's AoE is limited.
This was smart from Viper.
So many bloody decisions.
It's just a limited amount of attacks.
Shields up! Shields up!
That is a very threatening board.
That's a big turn.
And Tansoku needs just a couple of these minions to live. Spellstone, useless. He can Spellbreaker Spellstone. That's one thing that he can do, but the Spellstone's not upgraded.
I think he's just going to end up losing tempo here.
Yeah, and then he doesn't hero power anything but Tansoku's face. Because you can't even hero power these.
Unless you Spellbreaker him.
Unless you Spellbreaker him. He only has one of those, so he has one target. And he knows that Tansoku's probably be able to easily push through a Stubborn Gastropod. It's not going to really block damage because both Hellfire and just the hero power can deal with that.
And so, you know, you're looking at Lich King in that case, and you think about Lich King. Tansoku has a big Spellstone, or he's got a Spellbreaker, or he's got the Black Knight. That's it.
Yeah. In this case, just Hellfire Spellstone is enough. So he's going to have to do something a little bit more defensive here.
Just pull as much off the board as you possibly can.
Yeah. But with the Hellfire,
that's it.
That's going to be enough.
Wow.
And Admiral, that means we're going to a game number 5.
Heck yeah. I like game 5s.
Me too.
Their second game 5 of the day.
Third game 5 of the day.
Oh, just for me and you.
Oh, just for me and you. Yeah. We don't care about anybody else. We're selfish.
That's right.
But it's going to come down to I think, a pretty rough matchup for Viper. Look at that stance. Those two were the matchups that he should have felt more comfortable with. And now he's going to go up against, Admirable, guess. I'm pointing at it.
A Recruit Hunter.
Recruit Hunter.
Guessed right. We talk a lot about the momentum and how it feels to be up 2 games to 0 and what it means when the momentum shifts back. But Viper right now, he looks exactly how we described that. He was up 2 games, lost 2 straight, and now he's sitting there wondering what's going wrong.
We talked about Tansoku needing to take it 1 game at a time. Well, he won the first one. He got to play Hearthstone again. He won the second one. Now he gets to play Hearthstone at least 1 more time.
But this is more like on the side of where we saw Viper. It's not quite as bad as the big spell mage or the Shutterwalk Shaman versus Taunt Druid, but this is very much in favor of Tansoku, I'd say.
At least so far in the tournament, Recruit Hunter came into today as one of the highest win rate decks. It had only lost 1 game in the first 2 days of the group stages.
Now, one of the big things to look at is the momentum shifts that happen within the game, though. You know, Mountain Giant is always the big talking point.
Yeah.
When you look at even Warlock, if Tansoku's not able to check a Mountain Giant play, that does swing the game very heavily. I mean, there's big early threats like that that really give him a lot of trouble. So if he's not able to take care of that early on, things can get out of control.
Now he does have the big way to deal with it, which currently for him is Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark is, we've seen Tansoku do it, we've seen all the Recruit Hunter players do it. They just get a Firefly on board and they just Hunter's Mark and poke it.
That's not looking like the kind of hand that does that, though.
Yeah. And another fun fact so far, there has been no reverse sweeps in the tournament.
So many possibilities.
I mean, that goes to show that players' game plans are usually working out, where if they're trying to target a specific strategy, eventually they'll get there even if they make it close. So it does, I guess the statistics bode well for Viper. And right now, I do like his hand because Tansoku's drawing those big beasts and not drawing the stuff that makes those big beasts tick. I guess he does have the Seeping Oozling. But Keleseth on 2 is pretty good.
I'm going to be honest, though. In this matchup, if I could trade Keleseth on 2 for guaranteed Hunter's Mark, sign me up.
Yeah, especially since Skulking Geist exists in Viper's deck. But at that point in the game, usually you're pretty happy to be drawing other big stuff.
Yeah, I want my Hunter's Marks. I want to make sure that Giant doesn't crush me.
Yeah. So Tansoku's still going to have some stuff to play before that becomes a thing. Yeah, coin is a very valuable asset currently. Man, I honestly don't like the way Tansoku's hand's playing out. He's going to run out of time. Viper's going to play big threats back-to-back. Tar Creeper's going to buy him some time, but he's still multiple turns away from being able to play a Seeping Oozling. And all of a sudden, with Katharina drawn, if he draws the Silver Vanguard, that's it. Seeping Oozling's not going to do anything.
Yep. It does have those kind of reversal effects in play as well, where, you know, if you draw the wrong side of your deck, it can spell a lot of trouble. Like I said, it's not as good as it was where Viper had the super favorables in the first 2. But right now, Tansoku's hand is just, this is just one of the bad draws. And frankly, I think this Mountain Giant's going to clock him very quick, and he's going to be in trouble afterwards.
Yeah, because just playing that Seeping Oozling onto the board, that can just get Spellbreaker. There's 2 in Viper's Even Warlock.
He doesn't have one just yet.
He doesn't have one just yet, but I mean, Even Warlock can find cards. They're drawing 2 cards every turn.
Yeah, this is not a tap turn, though.
It is not.
This is a very dangerous turn to tap.
But, well, I don't know.
He's going to play Doomsayer Ooze.
I mean, he can just tap and overdraw a card.
He could.
He's trading a card in his deck to be lower health to be able to get Hook Reavers activated. We've seen players do that over and over again over the course of the tournament. But he's not willing to accept that risk.
All right, so this is a big point now for Tansoku. Is if I'm in Tansoku's spot, I think he has to play this Seeping Oozling. I think if he doesn't play this Oozling, he's not getting a footing in this game. Now the problem is if he plays this Oozling, he just does not have a good curve to pan on afterwards.
Your magic shall not save.
He is deviating here a lot. Spellbreaker and Candle Shot to wipe out this, and then Mountain Giant sticks to the board. I don't know.
He needs the coin for Katharina, that's the thing. Because that has the immediate value. If he coins Seeping Oozling and a Spellbreaker sits on the other side, he's dead.
This play looks like he's dead to me.
At least this play, he's got chances.
Does he? Spellbreaker's still the exact same thing. If he sees Spellbreaker, he's dead.
He needs one big swing turn.
I think that was last turn. I think he needed the swing right here. No Spellbreaker.
Well, next turn, he'll be able to coin Katharina. He has 2 Witchwood Grizzlies in his deck as beasts, and he has the Charged Devilsaur.
1 copy left.
Charged Devilsaur is an 8/8 because the Prince Kelliseth buff. So we'll be able to just trade over a Mountain Giant. He can trade Seeping Oozling in. That's going to pull out the Lich King if he pulls Charged Devilsaur with the Katharina. So we'll be able to trade off, theoretically clear the board, and have a taunt standing in the way. That's the swing turn he's looking for.
Viper's going to look for the Spellbreaker. Doesn't find it.
So this is the turn. Even Witchwood Grizzlies, which are now a 4/13, can stand in the way. Black Knight Wind on the other side, though. That's a big one. I don't know. Tansoku just might be dead.
He's got to think about the sequence here. Hang on. So he wanted the Charged Devilsaur and he wanted the Lich King here.
No, you wanted the Witchwood Grizzly.
I'm sorry, the Witchwood Grizzly, yes.
That would be the only reason why he would sequence it this way. If he wanted Lich King and Charged Devilsaur, he would Katharina first to thin the 8-drop.
Spellbreaker and Hellfire.
That's enough.
Viper draws the Spellbreaker due to the aggressive tapping that dug him closer to it. The 7 sticks, the Hellfire. Viper is moving on.
Still no reverse sweeps in the tournament. As Viper, it came down to the wire.
That is
he made it close.
That's as close as you get.
And that's a big sigh of relief because
Viper is stressing out, man. I don't blame him.
His demeanor going into that final game 5 is one of a man who just had 2 opportunities to close out a series and wasn't quite able to get there. But he will join Xiao Ti as the 2 players from Group A to move on to the quarterfinals. And fortunately, that's the end of the road for Tansoku.
It's been a hard-fought battle. Tansoku, I think he'll be back. TJ puts his name on the board every single time, just like Killing All Day.
That's right.
There'll be a Tansoku hashtag somewhere in there one day.
But for now, let's hand it over to the stage to Koro, who's waiting with Viper.
Tansoku put up quite a fight for Japan, but at the end of the day, it is Germany reigning supreme. We have Viper taking the win in 5 games and officially our first player of the day moving on to the quarterfinals. I don't think I've ever seen somebody look quite so relieved as when Viper closed up that series. How are you feeling right now?
I'm just feeling great. I'm actually really relieved. You're right. It's such a long series, and I don't know, you're always happy to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, those first couple games, the Control Mage game #1 was just, that was absolutely a marathon of a game. But I do want to talk a little bit about your lineup, because you have the same 120 cards as Bunny Hopper, a fellow German player, who also is through to the top 8. Did you guys ever expect that you both would be having such success with the lineup and making it through to the top 8 and potentially the World Championships?
I mean, in the end, why we brought the lineup, we concluded that those decks are just on average best decks to play in Conquest. And I mean, making it out of groups is obviously unexpected. I mean, you can never say, yeah, we both just gonna win everything, right? You can always lose games, but I don't know, we actually expected, and we still think that this lineup is just the best to bring in Conquest, and it feels great so far.
Well, I mean, you're certainly seeing the results that you'd hoped for. Final question. I asked Turna the other day. I had to get it from his mouth, but now I got to hear from yours. We have so little drama in the Hearthstone community. When we get something, we have to latch onto it. What's going on there, man?
I don't know. There were just a lot of questions Blizzard asked us, and one of them got taken out of context, kinda, and I don't know. I think Turner was a little disappointed in me, saying that I thought he is like the weakest out of the 4 European guys, and that's why there was this drama stuff going on. And I mean, I'm still staying to my words, but it's just, I don't really care about whatever happens there, like the drama-wise.
Ooh, maybe a little ego hit there for Turna, but you know what? The results will speak for themselves this time around. So far, we've got Viper and Bunny Hopper from Europe moving on to the quarterfinals. But let's go ahead and take it to the decider match for Group B. Let's send it back to TJ.
Thanks very much, Cora. Once again, joined by the Admiral. That's admirable. And I feel like
you saw just a second ago.
Yeah. I feel like it's time to break the tension a little bit. There's been some high-stakes Hearthstone matches going on. We have 3 more decider matches on the day before it wrapped up. So what we're going to do in the meantime is, Nathan, we're going to play a little game.
Oh, no. I did terrible yesterday at this.
That's right.
Dang it.
This game is called the Puzzle Game. We're going to give you a portion of card art. We're going to slowly reveal puzzle pieces in order to try and help you guess. And I will allow you to get help from the crowd. So if you guys know the card, yell at Admirable as loud as you can, or yell the wrong card to throw them off.
Don't listen to TJ on that part, but the first part, listen to TJ on. I need help here. I went 0 for 5 yesterday.
That'll be fun too. But let's get into it. I haven't seen these either, so I have no idea. But you're the one who has to guess. What is this card? What? Leroy?
I heard UI, but I don't think it's that either. I need more pieces here. I see a candle and like part of a treasure chest or a box or something.
All right, give us another piece.
Golly, I don't know. I'm hearing too many different answers. What on earth? I don't know. I'm now just more confused.
Oh, I know. You guys don't know, but I know. He affects the hero power.
Affects the hero power?
Yeah. So Witchwood card. God! Curium Collector. Did anybody get that?
Someone
got it? Okay.
I heard Leroy about 63 times.
I didn't hear you, but I'll believe you, person in the crowd. All right.
Let's believe him.
All right, we got one more.
Brian Kibler knew it. I'm looking at Brian Kibler, and he was looking at me, and I saw him going, and I was like, I don't know what that is. Because I can't read lips.
Brian Kibler has played every Hearthstone card in the series deck, so that's not even fair. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is the last one in the puzzle game. The only game. Okay, we actually have 2 pieces. The second one just isn't really a piece.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just blended with the background. It's camouflaged.
All right.
2 more, dealer. I need 2 more cards.
I know what this one is already.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I do.
How do you know what this is?
Anybody in the crowd know what it is?
It's not Leroy. Whoever keeps saying Leroy, somebody get that guy out of here. I'm kidding. You can stay.
All right, how about another puzzle piece to reveal? This.
Oh, okay.
This one's actually a new card. I don't think it's been released yet. Let's go and reveal it. That's Admirable.
I recognize that keyboard anywhere. I get posted that picture at least 5 times a week by TJ. That's a great card, though. It blows up your opponent when it comes into play.
2-mana card, make admirable, 10 times more cuddly.
And angry.
That's what it does.
Cuddly, yes, though, but still angry.
But enough other games. Let's get back to the Hearthstone games, and we're wrapped up here with our game segment. We're going to get into some more elimination matches, so let's get back to some Hearthstone.